really take this off, actually. We'll stick with this on.
Stick with it.
It's part of the whole process. It is the work, the alchemist's outfit, I suppose. Should we have beer on here? Maybe not a good idea. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Right, tomorrow, should we say today?
Today is tomorrow in Barrydale. It's all the same thing.
Is this how the interview is going to start? Okay, let's get our ducks
Groundhog Day. Oh, sorry.
Well, okay, no, you don't go ahead. I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, who's
You're the interviewer, so you better start so I can answer.
Okay, so then let's do it the proper way.
Okay.
Today we're speaking to another one of the quirky inhabitants of Barrydale. Not only has he got this minimalistic lifestyle, minimalistic, yeah, indeed, who also escaped the hustle and bustle of city life. And we're going to find out how he ended up in Barrydale with this very unusual sort of hobby and a project that he's busy with. I myself can't see the sense in doing it. Bit of a modern guide, believe in a little bit more technology, although I can't use it. But the man himself, Graham Abbot.
Thank you,
Graham.
Thanks, Reuben. Well, I don't know, where do I start? The thing is, yeah, I love living in Barrydale. It's away from the mad rat race of the city. And yeah, where do we start? I mean,
Yeah, how did you end up here?
Well, I had a business partner in Cape Town called Mark Thrasher, and we had an advertising agency. And this is after 30 years of being in the city, working as a photographer and having an equipment rental business and coffee shop and all kinds of weird things, which eventually just, you know, stole all my time. And, you know,
As it does, yeah.
You become a slave to the system, really. You know, you become a whore to the advertising agencies. I mean, you make them famous, make them loads of money, and they just exploit you and take all your time.
Pretty much having a day job. That's what happens. Having a day job.
Exactly. But then what happened was his father got ill, and his father lived here in Barrydale. So I came to visit, well, I had once or twice before, and I'd also had my mother get Alzheimer's. So I looked after her for a year after, you know, we'd closed our advertising agency. And then decided I'll get into an old age home. After she was there for 6 months, I realized this is not working. She's been given all kinds of sedatives to just sleep all day. So I thought, no, look, let me have a rethink of my life. What is more important? My mom's more important than actually the business. And I was sick and tired of the business. So one day, actually, I used to on Sundays take her out for an ice cream. So I took her for an ice cream and just kept driving. And I drove all the way to Barrydale, where I'd already organized a house. And yeah, the rest is history.
That's how we all end up. Well, that's what they say. You know, you don't get to choose Barrydale. Barrydale chooses you.
That's it, exactly.
That's how come we've got such interesting people living here. I mean, for most, I think in Barrydale, you've got artists. There's always a reason why you end up here. Unlike in Joburg looking for a job, or Pretoria, or any big city. Yeah. Barrydale, well, you're not going to find a job for a start. So.
No. You have to reinvent yourself, that's for sure.
And it lends itself to that type of lifestyle.
I've always wondered, there's so many people that seem to be, I don't know, trying to disappear from society into Barrydale. You know, it's like the last outpost where you can hide
pretty much so.
From civilization. You know, you become like a character in this play that Barrydale is.
Indeed. It's like when the truck comes in, the OK truck comes in, and everyone's excited because the veggies has come in. And
it's Tuesday, there's new fresh veg.
There's a rush down to the OK, which is probably the size of a shoebox, but we're all so ecstatic. Back in city life, well, Woolworths is probably about 5 minutes away from your house, so it's no problem, but you don't get to appreciate these small things like fresh potatoes or fresh lettuce. You know, all of a sudden, these things mean something to you, whereas in city life, well, it's take it for granted.
You take everything for granted. There's Barrydale's plug. Don't everybody move to Barrydale now.
Right, let's rather talk about this strange object on the table.
Okay, well.
What have we got here?
So I bought this old thing called a Lancaster, which it's a view camera, which means it's got bellows, and it shoots, it's actually from 1898, which no, 1889, even older.
And it still exists.
And it still works. I mean, it's so basic. There's nothing really that can break. And it's like a box with a hole in it. It's literally that. So you have a lens here which has one element. It's just a piece of glass. And then you have at the back here a ground glass which your image reflects onto. And that's pretty much it. So you line it up, you point it at whatever you want it to photograph, and then you focus it here in and out until it's pretty much in focus. Then you have this little lens cap on the front which stays on because there's no shutter. So most of these exposures are somewhere between 10 seconds and a minute. So
this doesn't come with a selfie stick?
No, you could try, it'd be a selfie broomstick maybe. But yeah, what happens is you open the lens on the front and your subject has to sit still for most likely 20 seconds. So there's no looking around or smiling or anything. I mean, that's why most people look like they were so grumpy in the old days, because they couldn't smile or move because they'd blur.
That's an interesting fact, yeah, because you don't see any photographs of those little round frames.
With a smiley, happy
grandmother
person.
And grandfather. No one ever smiles.
Well, if you could keep your fake smile for 30 seconds, then you'd probably be able
like
to...
you're having a fit.
Yeah, you might look a bit scary, you know.
Oh, that's interesting. I never thought of it that way.
And, well, this is the thing called the film holder, which goes in the back once you've focused. And inside here is your glass plate. It's called a half plate. So I don't know if you can see it all, but that is actually an exposed glass. So you cover the surface of the glass with collodion, which is like a gooey stuff. It's an organic material. You stick it into silver nitrate, which makes it light sensitive. You then stick it in here, pop it in here, expose it for 30 seconds, run back into the darkroom where it's dark. I think we did film some of that. Pop it in the developer, and Bob's your uncle. You have an image, which is
fantastic. That's
stuck onto this glass, which, you know, in the beginning they used to float off into the water. Or I'm getting better now, so my averages of getting the pictures right is a little bit better than in the beginning.
Okay, so where are we going with this thing? You know, it's all fine and dandy taking pictures with an old camera. For me, it's not going to float. But do you have any ideas? Are you going to make money out of it? Are you going to promote it? Are you going to sell these things? Are you making them? What are you doing with it?
Well, at the moment,
just a hobby.
I've just been trying to get my head around how to do it properly, because, you know, if I want to do it as a career or career change, or try and offer this service to people, I need to be able to get my averages up. But you know,
so long-term plan.
Long-term plan.
For this.
I think, you know, I don't want to be rushing to Cape Town to go and do any work anymore if I don't have to. So I built this old barn here last year to try and make a base for me to be able to do workshops. So I can teach people about black and white photography. I've got a darkroom, which you will see, where I can teach how to use these old cameras.
This is an impressive collection, I must say.
Well, yeah, it's been probably 30 years in the making. I used to go to antique shops and boot sales and buy shit, but that's another whole story.
That's another story for another.
The story about this is I'd like to do wet plate collodion workshops eventually, and have people come up here, stay on the property. We've got cool, crazy accommodation, caravans and Land Rovers to sleep in, and you can
sounds wonderful. I would love to sleep in a Land Rover. Yeah, it sounds like my kind of gig.
The camping vibe, safari camping. But yeah, no, I think people, as I've kind of seen around the world, are getting more interested in going into the original sort of photographic procedures.
Without Photoshop.
Because everything has become so, I don't know, intangible. It's just become instant gratification. Everything's digital. It's not really the original photography experience that you're having anymore. You're just snapping stuff and putting it on Instagram, and it's all fine and well. It's all about your experience, not about what you're experiencing. And I think this is to bring people back down to earth, where you have the magic of creating an image, where you're taking it, putting it onto glass, and then making a print which you can take home with you.
But now, how's the average Joe Soap going to get one of these from 1890? Or does he have
No,
to
they
build
come
these
to me. Come here, and I will show you the whole process, and you can walk away with the glass plate and the print.
So mainly it's not really then for someone to come here and learn how to do this so they can go out and take photographs with one of these as well. It's more of
just having the
experience and then walking away pretty much like a bungee jump. You're not going to go and buy your own bungee jump. You're going to take that with you as an experience. Okay,
but I think also people need to slow down and take their shoes off, ground themselves. You know, maybe leave your cell phone somewhere for the weekend, you know, or put it away for for the day, where you don't look at it every 5 seconds to see who's been reacting to your last post. This is more taking people to the point where they're zenning out a little bit from life and looking at what they're photographing, taking the time to understand what it is that they're taking a picture of, why they're taking it, and composing it, and understanding that
how it all comes
together. It's just, you know, slowing down a bit from the mad rush of life that people have got into.
Well, interesting. How would people get hold of you? How are you going to go about that?
This is called the Studio Barn. As corny
so
as
people
it is,
can Google
Studio Barn. It's a
barn
and it's a studio. And yeah, you can just Google or hashtag or whatever it is, these new things I'm still trying to figure out.
Hashtag's big word.
No, I don't even know really what it means. And I think it's sort of more about kind of trying to focus all my marketing, which I'm trying to do now, into just one platform, which is
there is a website, the Studio Barn.
There's the Studio Barn website. There is the Instagram, the Studio Barn, Facebook page, the Studio Barn. You know, I don't know, LinkedIn, I'm still trying to get my head around. So, you know, I'm not sort of right up there with all my social networking skills, but, you know, I'm trying to bring the old world back into the new world and combining the two. So you will be seeing more of this crazy ass wet plate photography, on the interweb. You will see it on Facebook and Instagram, and keep your eyes peeled.
So are you going to show us some of the workings of this thing? Are we going to go to your darkroom? Are we going to take photographs? Are we going to fool around? Because already you're losing me.
No, I'll do a portrait of you so you can see what it's like sitting still for 30 seconds.
I'll give it a go.